Okay, sorry, we're good to go.
Are you good?
Yes,
All
sorry.
good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So I'd like to call the meeting of the IDA to order. And first thing I'd like to do is put the minutes of the October 22nd meeting on the table for approval.
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, the first order of business is the pilot resolution for 100 Dunn Road.
You guys, do you want to come up here, maybe at the front here, and you just walk folks through the project?
Do you have any clips here, Brian, that we could clip our site plan to?
Oh, I don't.
Just do this.
I think it's, isn't it in this 21 pages? You can put it up on the screen. Site plan.
Oh, you probably do,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Probably do have it.
It's not, it's on the website.
Yeah, click on that.
Katie, do you mind directing me exactly where? it is
Yep,
on
if you
there?
go to IDA and then projects, it's about halfway down. There you go. And then it will be one of the first ones. Yep, there you go. That's right. And I don't know what page it is, probably page maybe 30.
Is the whole application on here and then supporting documents?
Yes, we are required to put all of the application on there. We don't do personal stuff on there.
Would you like these?
It's
Keep.
after that, yeah, there we go.
Actually, I think that's right.
That's it.
Okay.
Or we can expand it? or-
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Wow, it's close.
Oh, there it comes.
Sorry.
Good.
So, oops. Sorry, this is a very finicky
Sure.
thing. Is
I
that
guess. That's fine.
good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay?
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Morgan. This is Don Goodrich with me. I am the owner and operator of two local trash hauling companies. One is Dependable Disposal, which is a residential company that services Wayne, Onondaga, Monroe, and a few counties to the south. And Morgan Rubbish Removal is our commercial company, which is all dumpsters, roll-off dumpsters, front-load dumpsters. It's common ownership. We run out of the same offices. If you call the number, it's the same place, but it's two separate entities. We are proposing to build a 12,000 square foot facility at Dunn Road, which is on the edge of the industrial park, just south of the village of Lyons. It's a 7-acre site that we have under contract, 7.2 acres total with the owner. We have not closed yet. It's basically, we have an operation in Wolcott right now, which Lynn Chetfield is here, and Lynn is the supervisor in Wolcott. What we're looking to do is bring most of the employees from there, keep that facility open for minor repairs and for a welding shop, and bring, there's an office component here. There are 4 repair bays, a truck washing bay, and also some indoor storage. We have some renderings of a building. We have gone through site plan approval. We've added trees along the side here. Because of the view of Sun Alloway Road, there may be some residents that can see down in the back of this property. There's also a lot of just overgrown brush on the back of the property and behind what's called Deloca. And also there's 2 other industrial businesses back here, Westlore and what is it?
Jamco.
Yeah, it was Jamco, yeah.
Steve, where is the 31? Or not 31, 14?
Yeah, it's gonna be about a half mile to the west, which is down here.
Okay,
So-
so, and then where's Parker, the old Parker building?
I'm not familiar with Parker.
Do you know?
Our neighbor to the east is Merchants North, the liquor distributor.
Okay, I'm just trying to acclimate.
And this is just a little access road right here, which goes back to Westlore and
Okay,
and the other business. The local would be right here.
14 in the industrial park. area.
Yeah, I know where that is.
There's
Okay,
a map
okay.
for.
I think Park is right across the street.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna, the Parker building
Yeah,
is huge.
that actually might be.
Yeah.
James
Where
Owen
James,
Container.
James
It's directly
Owen Container,
across.
yes, James, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, Parker was before that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. That's a good location.
all right, no, I,
So-
that's good.
Yeah, so that's 14 right here,
Yes.
and then this is the
Yes,
Gun Road.
got it, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so part of the condition of the site plan approval from the town was that no commercial vehicles could access Dunn Road, which is marked as a 5-ton weight limit. So all the traffic will go down the parkway. Yeah, some of the neighbors complained because there was, some of the merchants' trucks do go down Dunn. So obviously that was part of the condition for site plan approval. Also adding the trees along the west side of the property. We're probably gonna add some more trees, you know, around the front as well. The other part of the condition was that there was to be no garbage left on site at any time, not in trucks, not in dumpsters, not in the building or anything like that, which we fully comply with right now, and it's, as you know, we have no intentions of that at all. We are looking to grow our business to the south. We don't service Geneva, Canandaigua, or places to the south in the Finger Lakes. And this is kind of on the west part of our footprint. So we would also look to get into, we're in Palmyra now, but we're not into Newark. So we would look to kind of make a continuous footprint from Syracuse to Rochester. This is also a strategic spot for us too, because it's fairly close to the local landfills. Within 25 minutes, you can get to the Ontario County landfill. Where we are right now, it's about a 55-minute drive. So it's significantly less to get to the landfills from where we are right now.
Is that the only one you use, or do you use?
We use we use an array of different ones, but we primarily go to the Ontario County landfill, but we go to Seneca Meadows landfill, and also some transfer stations towards Rochester. We do have, as part of our full application, we plan on putting solar panels on the roof to save on some of the energy costs to defray that. Don could probably speak. Don could speak to that a little more in depth. Why don't you give a quick little summary of the solar?
Basically, we looked at two different systems. One's 191 kW system that covers both sides. The other one is a smaller 60 kW system that covers just one side. So the potential, we've got to pick one and figure out which one's going to be best. They'll have inverters inside the building, and the larger system will just about equal our total usage for the year. In a nutshell.
Questions? We maybe could elaborate on the job creation component in the commitment.
Sure, yeah. We have in our application to over the next 3 years to add 5 jobs. Those would be jobs between $50,000 and $75,000. A typical driving job, we start drivers anywhere in the $24 to $28 range, depending on experience. So we would be looking at adding some driver and probably 2 administrative positions in the office, which are typically $20 to $25, depending on experience. We hope over the 5-year plan, we're somewhere in the 8 job range. You know, there'll definitely be growth. You know, one thing that I had mentioned to Brian and Katie is I took over this business 24 years ago when my father got sick and couldn't operate anymore. At the time, we had 6 employees. Now we have 115 employees, and we're in, you know, we operate from Syracuse to Rochester and then down to the Binghamton area. So we will grow this business. We will add employees. And it's probably a conservative number, but that's where we're at in our application.
Of your 115 employees, how many are Wayne County currently?
There are approximately 15. Yeah.
So the main function of this facility will be maintenance and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's truck repair. We have spots to park, I think 12 trucks outside, and then there's another room for 10 trucks inside. We only have, I think, it's either 10 or 11 trucks in Woket right now. We put 6 on the road per day. So it's not a huge operation, but there's plenty of room for growth. You know, beyond the size of the building, the site, and the size of the repair facility.
There is sewer at that site. because it's
Yeah.
industrial park.
Yeah, part of our, we don't have it on here, but part of our plan is an oil water separator, so
That
the
was
wash
my
bay.
next question.
Yeah, the wash bay would go to the oil water separator. We also have a trench drain running down the middle of the building, and then eventually it ends up in the sewer.
On that other location piece, there was a couple of ponds nearby. Are those retention ponds? For your,
Yeah, there isn't any on this site. There's only about, what, a 2 or 3 foot drop on this site.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's relatively flat.
I think as this goes back, Mike Green was our surveyor and did our site plan, and Mike actually worked with Merchants North. I think what happens is some of the water goes down here, and there might be a pond down the road, but I'm not quite sure. But we also have, as part of our plan to feed our wash bay, we're going to have an underground 2,000 gallon tank that captures all the rainwater off of the roof. It will be guttered down into an underground tank, and then we will use that water to recycle that water to use as our wash bay. And we also have concrete around 20 feet of the building for, just for turning and things and whatnot. So we have gotten site plan approval, and we've got special use approval. The reason we had to get special use approval because this was mixed use industrial, or this was mixed use commercial, and the town thought that they decided that we needed industrial. The town is in the process of converting this whole area to industrial, but it was going to take a number of months. So we asked if we could get the special use permit, which allowed industrial, and then got site plan approval. So about the only thing we don't have right now is a building permit, and that's we're waiting for drawings to be finished from our engineer.
it looks like a great deal, 60,000 for 7.21 acres, and the building looks really nice.
Yeah, we have some renderings to a building that I could show you. But it's going to be blue and white with a dark roof. So.
Okay, any other questions? All right, Steve, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second. We just got a motion, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next is a pilot resolution for the Westbury Land LLC.
Westbury Lumber. You want to come up there, bud? So this is, so for the benefit of everybody, we will walk through where we are. So process to date and where we're headed. So 3 parcels, public correction facility, all currently owned by the Urban Development Corporation, which is the formal name of Empire State Development. Urban Development Corporation. So that's Empire State Development. WEDC, so care about WEDC. There's a lot, right? State economic development. We issued request for proposals, received those, scored them, and have selected Westbury as our preferred developer. Remember, Westbury Lumber is the business owner directly adjacent to the closed correction facility and its proposed acquisition of all 3 parcels associated with that. This process really is the IDA playing no bet. We're between the state of New York and Westbury, and the state approved our issuance of an RFP and bringing the buyer to the table. Several things involved in the transaction process, including seeker review, so, just a straight transfer of property from the IDA to the IDA requires, from the state of New York requires seeker, so we've been in the process of evaluating the scope and review of that relative to Westbury's proposal, which if you recall, is effectively 3 phases. Phase 1 being acquisition of the property, utilization of the open land for laying down logs. Phase 1 and or phase 2, if you will, would involve demolition of several structures. Full scope of which to be determined. They want to see if they can save the roofs, keep the lumber dry, effectively using the concrete pads that the buildings are built on to stage lumber to extend the life of said lumber. In phase 3, being drying kilns where they would actually dry the wood prior to shipping it. Went a little back and forth with the state on the scope of the initial security review, given that what we would say the kiln project in particular is, the phrasing would be nosy, has been aspirational, and so there's no absolute specific commitment to that phase, but that is their plan. As part of the secret review, we have concluded that we will, for secret review, all 3 phases as best we can. This was a back and forth between our attorneys and the state, so Westbury's identified in general an area where they would be locating those kilns. Part of the secret review involves 3 parts, if you will. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1.
Excuse me, could you put that up on screen on the, from the application?
Is it in this, you mean over here?
Your meetings, just as the Dunn Road put up the application.
Is that what, oh, okay, yeah, so,
It's actually showing the, what he's describing in the schematics of part phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. It's just easier for everybody to see.
just,
Yep.
where am I, where did I go? There.
No, you're okay.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just easier to visualize.
Yeah.
Is that
Um,
what you'd like to see,
yeah, I
or
think that
maybe
was,
this one?
that's phase 1.
Right. So you'll see the cut through areas and then the buildings that they'll evaluate. Otherwise.
What confused me was, what is Nature's Blend?
Nature's Blend is there's a mulching operation across the street as it is today. The plan will be to relocate that.
Oh, okay.
So finalizing the scope and secret review effectively helps us inform part 1, which is the environmental assessment form, which is part of what is in front of you guys today. So this resolution, our initial pilot resolution, where we are accepting part 1, all which is preparing us to go out for our public meeting between this meeting and the next. The pilot itself is effectively there to establish property value that is reflective of the use of the property. So the property's been assessed at 3.4 million based on the state's use as state prison. We've been generating taxes because the state's exempt. I've been working through the process and per Westbury's proposal. Interested in a valuation more reflective of their use of the property effectively as open land to date. Future improvements would affect the assessed value as it is for their use as proposed in phase 1. We're looking to establish a base value of around 780.
And then by the time they get done demolishing these buildings, you'll just be chipping away at that, right?
No, that'll
You
stay.
can't assess those.
What's that?
You can't assess the buildings that they're gonna demolish.
Assess the buildings that go into
They get big demolition plans, so this whole site's gonna change from an assessment point of view.
Correct. Well, so it's at 3.4 million now. We're looking to establish a base value that effectively values the property as open land, because that's what it is. Future improvements, changes to the property would affect assessed value, but there's a timing, so property values only change once a year. That's for assessors, tax list, tax states, et cetera, which would generally be around the middle of the year, say June 1st. A number of different dates before it gets official, but in any case, given timing on the transaction, there would not be an opportunity for the property assessed value to change locally. So there's a mechanism, property transfer, if it goes into private sector hands as of January 1st, February 1st, pro rata portion of that property tax bill that will come due. And we're looking to avoid that situation, at least the value of the property, not space value, and something that is accessible to Westbury to help facilitate the transaction.
So that'll be 3.8.
No.
What will the assessment be on closing?
7 or 80,000. Well, assessment, I'm careful with language here. It wouldn't be, the assessment would still be 3.8. The pilot would exempt that value and establish a new base value, which we are using as the value of the open land.
Zoned. The value of the open land zoned agricultural or zoned?
As to be used by Westbury. Maybe semantic, but zoning isn't changing. Zoning in Butler and Walton are not what you might typically think of as far as zoning goes, the land use code. Butler in particular doesn't classify any land uses within their code. Walton kind of does. Do you have questions? Comments?
How many acres of the land? I mean, this is both the sites. It was the former minimum and median.
Correct.
It's 500.
Any other questions on this? We're looking to move through this process, frankly, as quickly as possible. Lots of detailed conversations with the state on the transfer here and getting things lined up. Things down a little bit, but we're being keen on making sure that we're not holding things up here. And staying engaged with Westbury and making sure that they're informed about steps along the way. Imagine this is probably long, not confusing to Westbury as far as the process goes. I think everybody understands at the end of the day, this is about getting the prison out of the state's hands, getting it back to productive use.
I'll take a motion.
And, so if this is revalued roughly at 780,000, it's just under $4,000 an acre. So they're gonna be taxed on that amount.
Well,
Are there other incentives?
value, and just to be very specific here, value is a pilot, so it'll exempt the property, and then they'll make a payment in lieu of taxes. So the assessment generally, as it is today, won't come into play. And yes, they will pay taxes on that base value within the pilot.
Right.
Which is at 70.
Yes.
So beyond that, are there other incentives for the raising of the structures there?
Potentially, we've had discussions very recently with the state, so if you guys recall, in the club 11 years ago, the state established what they call the transformation fund. $8 million committed to economic development projects within a 20 or 30 mile radius of 15. Thank you.
Notice some businesses were just on the edge of it.
So the fund is still there. There's been about, let's say, roughly 800,000. Last number I got was 7.2, I think was left in the transformation fund. I'll say the state has not established a standalone bank account of these funds. So there it is. Tracking on details relative to projects that have been funded under that has been a little difficult. Asking the state, they are committed to providing the balance of those transformation funds. Closing and transfer of this property does not eliminate the potential applicability of the transformation fund to projects just by Westbury moving forward. So it could be a number. There's a demolition of the properties, acquisition and construction of kilns, and or what other improvements might be necessary to facilitate that utility stuff.
Does this agency have a role in helping facilitate that?
As middlemen with the state of New York and economic development, yes, we've had just last week I had a conversation with the transformation fund project manager over at WCIDA about the availability of those funds. We had some discussions on a water improvement project that up along Route 104 that would potentially be eligible for transformation funds to open up some commercial development opportunities up there. Walking area around McDonald's. Still scoping that project. If there are opportunities within a jumbo radius and or on the present site, and I'll say, as of last week, the state reiterated their interest in the ability of the transformation funds on site. I love that, but that's what their interest is today. But if there are opportunities that aren't on site, they're open to proposals. Well said.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll take a motion. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move right to the fiscal officer's report. The first portion, we have your account balances as of November 5th, so it's a little earlier this month. Everything is pretty much streamlined for what we normally operationally see. The difference between end of like September and to the current date is the payments of all the pilots went out, all the tax jurisdictions. So that's the difference between the 2.2 and the 1.6 that you're seeing. Next page is our budget versus actual. So we're coming up to year end. Our total income is increased just slightly, a little bit. So we are at 46% of the budgeted amount, with our expenses being at about 35. So our total net income is about 92% of the budgeted amount. So we still expect to receive a pilot closing fee from OptiPro for about $15,000 by the end of the year, along with the bank interest income. So that'll come in. And then expenses, it's just the remaining portion of the pitch competition sponsorship. And then if there's any marketing or meeting materials, legal fees there towards the end. Okay, great. Executive directors.
Let's mention a few things quickly as well. So we've been engaged this year with Grow New York applicants. So if you're not familiar, Grow New York is the state's agricultural business competition. The pitch event was held in downtown Ithaca last week. I attended one day, or Roth was our ag development specialist another day. We've been engaged with 3 of the competition's participants, none of which were the top winner, but 2 of which were winners in the competition. So excited to see that for them, but looking to continue to have discussions with them about opportunities to locate businesses here in the county. I think there's some like that, so that was fun. Also leading up to our pitch event this week was fun to see folks pitching businesses and their format and the way they went about doing that. Very impressive, the slate. I think as usual, frankly, but a lot of potentially relevant businesses for farmers in the county, from a number of different perspectives, and I'd be happy to take time. The big one I'm gonna just put on the table, we don't have to have a detailed conversation here, but if it continues to come up, and I included in the regional section of that, here is pilot benefits for housing projects. Probably aware, probably assume the Micron project in Clay is pressing the housing demand button every day. Oneida County is being very proactive in supporting new housing project proposals. There's a very large residential project proposed that in Syracuse that the Syracuse Industrial Development Agency is providing a 15-year pilot on. I'm just putting this out there as food for thought or potential future discussion on the county and the IDA's interest in potentially providing pilots for residential projects. I don't have a proposal or a schedule or anything like that today, but considering this is happening, not a typical role for IDA's play, particularly on market rate housing, which that project is. In Syracuse, they do require it's 20% affordable housing component to any project supported with a pilot. So a percentage of the total units. Lots of different ways you could go with this, but it's possible in the near future here we could be approached by a housing developer interested in developing a substantial housing project only or for a pilot agreement. I would encourage you to follow the link, read the article, see a little bit more about it. It's a actually look up the number, I forget it. Like $124 million potential project. So it's not, it's a substantial investment. Right, so you know, you guys are up to speed on Butler, just in case you're wondering. On the other hat, I wear sometimes, but our county broadband project, which I consider to be an economic development project too, is we just crossed the 50% completion threshold last week. So substantial build out, expecting substantial progress between now and the end of the year. Big delays, full permitting, working with utility companies on that. So we're 96% through permitting, which was a huge step and took well over a year. Should get that last 4% done sometime in the next couple of months. I'll stop there. Questions?
I just have one comment I wanted to make. Tomorrow, there's a local developer that's having an open house from 10 to 2 in East Rochester on Garfield Street. And what his product is a carbon-friendly modular house that he's interested in building, you know, putting on sites for people, specializing in first-time home buyers. And there's a pretty dynamic Pathstone related grant for first-time home buyers. So first-time home buyer qualified for $200,000 on a mortgage. The Pathstone has a $100,000 grant available for that person that qualifies. And you know, there's qualification plus a 10-year requirement to live in the house. But I think it's a very exciting potential for Wayne County, and anybody that's interested in going to the open house is welcome. And I have more information if you want to just email me. I'll send you the flyer. But I'm going to go around noon because I'm so interested in seeing it. He put one over on Furnace Road on the site of a house that burned, and it's very cute. It's, you know, it's very cute.
What's the developer's
I
name?
got the invite to
Anthony and
Green,
Taviani.
Oh, yeah.
Green
he
Door
sent it to me
Builders?
too.
Yeah.
Yep, he sent it to me as well. He's done some work in Sodas.
Yep, he has. He has. So he's a young, very ambitious, very proven kind of a guy. He just wants to just open up his arms. Whoever wants to come, please come, because he really wants to get the word out there that, you know, there's this idea.
Will you send it to me, Julie? Like,
Sure.
We're in Sodas.
I don't remember the address. The 4-unit place is actually working on a landlord rehab program with our Pathstone program.
We should discuss putting up like worker housing at some of the sites that you've been involved with. And I'm guessing that program's probably only it applies to individuals, but it'd certainly be interesting to look at something like that for a potential commercial application.
Mhm. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen those, this has been, it's not Facebook, but the Tesla modulars.
Yes.
They're very cool. And there's 5 different companies that are making these types of modulars, so this may definitely be a.
Well, it's interesting too, you're
Our
getting to
climate's
the
a little weird,
H2A,
but
that whole situation
No,
too.
oh, yeah, well, I mean, that's.
That's a whole different ballgame, but as that kind of goes
transition
down the
housing,
road.
I mean, like people that we recruit from outside of the area, they
Yeah.
need to be in place for like a few months so they can set up their own arrangements.
Yeah,
And we also use interns from Cobble Skill.
okay,
And they're here like 4 months,
so not long, right, so
Right, so-
temporary type stuff, yeah.
but we want to
Yeah.
make sure we always have a place for
Yeah.
them, so. It's a discussion we've been having more and more frequently.
Yeah, it's interesting, yeah, nice.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it out to all of us, I think it'd be interesting to take.
Another, like, one more thing, next Tuesday at 9:20 or something across the street, they are talking about this huge, community development block grant application that the county's gonna make for $10 million available to small towns in Wayne County to kind of clean up their main drags, demolition, whatever. There was this extra $1 million component for emergency demolition work, that, buildings that are already falling down. I thought that was another exciting, thing kind of on the horizon.
1 million?
There was an additional one, and there was 10, and then there's this $1 million separate grant for, like, it looked, from the ad, it looked like it was more for emergency. Being in the business, I kind of know.
So this is our department, planning side of our office's department's application.
Oh, okay.
First time this year, well, first time
Quite a few years with CDBG in the
the
state.
state is offering a vacant property cleanup program. I can't remember the actual acronym, but it's basically, we'll help you get rid of the blight. And these are pretty much clear demo projects. County's in ownership of the building down Water Street here that used for warehousing at one point. It was acquired by the county for a project. And you guys were here for WCIDA. Remember that? To go. Erie Canal Cultural Center. No? Okay.
I'm the Doug County is one of those.
Well, at the end of the day, the county accepted a grant in the building. The project did not come together. The grant put a parks easement on the property, so it's very limited what can be done with that piece of property, getting the easement. God, state legislature and the governor all have to sign something. to approve the project.
It's too much work.
I know, exactly.
In every nation, there's lots of case law, so at the end of the day, county owns the building, it's continuing to deteriorate. And we're looking at the opportunity to get rid of the building, just make it a park. So we'll hold a public hearing.
Most people would accept it. So hard to read the legalese.
Yes.
And, it's just speak English so people can understand what it is.
They don't want you to understand.
No,
That's why it's written. And it comes from the state too.
The language for
The language,
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on your update?
Nope.
All right, any other business? Okay, so with that, next board meeting, we've got governance on December 2nd, audit and finance on December 10th, and the next board meeting will be December 10th. I will take a motion to adjourn.
make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Hey,
Opposed,
next
and
meeting,
carried.
maybe.
Thank you.
Depending on, we get a lot of it, but I think it's.
Okay. Why don't I send an email to the three of you about the next meeting if we need to reschedule?